a very long live. I'm waiting for this guy who's driving like half the speed limit to like pass me so I can get out of my parking spot. Come on now. You're driving an Audi sports car. Your shit should be flying. Ah, frustration is real today, folks. So hold on, live chat. There we go. So I hope everyone's doing well. This kind of an oddball time of day for me, time of day of the week too. I did have a few. Well, now that I'm done with all my travel, for now anyway. God, that was a long ass road trip, by the way. I did learn a few things, or I shouldn't say I learned them, but I was reminded. Hey, what's going on? Hello, hello. Hey, Joe. Wait, who is that? Hey. I can't see. Shoot. Teeny weeny, I don't have my my glasses on today. What's sad is the glasses I need to read I can't drive with because everything's blurry. But hey farmer, what's going on? Hey coffee. So I was reminded of a few lessons during this last trip, and I thought I'd share some of them with you. One of which, I was on my way back. I got into we went into one of the state highway rest stops, just, go pee, get a soda and whatnot at the machines. And my truck wouldn't start. I got it started. Then I was afraid to turn it off. So I wound up driving to AutoZone as soon as I got back in town to where I live. I went to the nearest AutoZone. They tested the battery because that's what I suspected. And sure enough, the battery was dying, so I had to, hey Okie, what's going on? Hey Jim, it was Jim who I was trying to look at earlier. Hey Teresa, which brings to the point something I've mentioned before in my videos. Make sure you, especially in this economy, right? God, vehicles that we bought for 45 grand, which was a substantial amount of change, and they were bougied out, leather seats and all, in 2018, 2019, are now going, that same trim, same vehicle, going just a new version for 75, 85,000. That just blows my mind. If you have a trade-in, it just, you can't afford vehicles. I don't know how the young kids, people getting their first job, trying to save up for their own first vehicle, how they're getting cars. Like, I don't think, hey Red, I don't know how they'll do it. So you got to maximize your car, right? That's a really important asset. It's like the horses were back in the, the pioneer days. Get the most you can out of your vehicle. Don't, that actually, because I have a big truck, my battery was like, damn. That's the other thing. The batteries used to be $150, for a big battery for a pickup. $247. Ouch. But that $247 sure beats me damaging my vehicle's engine, and then I need a new truck. Like, it just doesn't make sense. That couple of $100 is way more economic, hey Darryl, than buying a new vehicle now. Not that you should buy a new vehicle because of a freaking battery, but I'm just saying, make it last. Get the oil changes on time, get your brakes done. If you can do it yourself, even better. Unfortunately, not everyone, hey, what's going on, Anya? $300 for my Ford truck in 2004. Yeah, and all joking aside, I drive a Ford. I've driven Chevys. I had a bad run with Chevy when they went through that crappy period in the late 90s, early 2000s, where their quality just went to the garbage. And then they picked it up. The newer trucks are really nice. I'm hearing good things about them. But Dodge, Ford, Toyota, whichever you drive, yeah, belts, hoses. If you can do your own repairs, even better. But even if you can't, it still makes more economic sense to pay the mechanic the $500,000 for a simple repair in maintenance to get the brakes or the tune-up or whatever, than to wait till your vehicle breaks down. Hey, Wolfang, and now you're just in a world of hurt. It just, hey, Darryl again, it just doesn't make sense, guys. So that was the first thing. Keep your vehicle running. make a point of checking my tires. If they get to where, especially with as much as I drive, if I get to a point where I'm not comfortable being on a 6-hour road trip with my tires, I'm going to swap them. Yeah, it costs me a few $100 for that, but the option is I blow out a tire and wreck my truck. That's going to cost me way more. That's assuming I don't get hurt in the process. So maximize your vehicles, guys. The market is insane. So we used to have an Expedition because we had all the kids at home, and it was really nice, leather seat, black on black truck. My wife drove, and at the time I think we've been arguing how much we paid, but it was between 45 and 47, which was a chunk of change. But we figured we're gonna have this truck through their kids' teenage years, and they were playing lacrosse and football and in bands, so we got our money's worth, right? Traded it in, got our smaller SUV, and we're realizing with all our road trips, now that we're empty nesters, it's like, yeah, maybe we should have kept the bigger truck. We had looked at them when we got the little SUV, and they were still in the mid 40s, maybe went up a little into the low 50s. We looked at that same freaking truck, $87,000 plus your trade-in. You're taking a $100,000 loan on a car. And the Cadillac Escalade, we just looked at it for giggles, which is the Expedition size, the big caddy, went from 80 to 120, y'all, not including your trade-in, $120,000 for an SUV. We could buy houses for 120 grand. I'd rather buy a freaking house than buy a caddy. That just makes no sense. And I'm looking at a lot of young professionals are buying those really expensive vehicles, and they think they can trade them in every 2-3 years, and that economically makes sense. Hey, New York City. Hey, Vision, thanks for jumping in. Vision's probably still recovering from that weekend because that looked like a lot of running around. Folks, that's a lot of coins. So maximize your vehicles. If I was refreshed on anything in this trip, is to keep your vehicles taken care of. Absolutely, as much as you can. Hell, you're better off, even if you can't do your oil changes in your subdivision or whatever, because they don't like you doing that. Paying whatever, even if it's $100 for a bigger truck in the quick change or the Valvoline, it's still better than neglecting it and having to buy a new vehicle. I can't fathom how people are doing that. Two, we did try to go by, so my son-in-law, my future son-in-law, and I had a half day to ourselves, and we went to downtown Austin to try to find the homeless camps. They're gone. They are gone, y'all. So what wound up happening is the 3 city council people who had moved from San Francisco and got on the Austin, Texas city council pissed everyone off, including the transplants, so bad that all 3 of them got kicked out of the city council. Now, or 4 of them. 2 were replaced by Republicans, 2 were replaced by Democrats, but these are like blue-collar Democrats, like the old farm and ag. So basically, they were replacing 4 San Francisco people with 4 people who were in the middle of the political pack on both sides. And the first thing they did was go to the police and the mayor and say, we need to reinforce we need to repeal the city ordinance that says homeless camps on private property are okay. Believe it or not, hey, Heroic, what's going on? They actually did that. The Austin, Texas City Council for a while said homeless encampments are fine. People were camping out in yards. They were camping out in, the grass between the curb and the sidewalk. So if you had a house, right, and then you have your sidewalk in front of your house, and then you had that little patch of grass, they were camping out right there. And so your kids would walk out to go to the school bus, and there was a meth head there, and needles. That was the big thing. There were needles. So they cleaned up the city. I'm actually shocked. Now, there were some encampments further out. They were much smaller, and they were much less vocal and belligerent. Apparently, they started enforcing the quality of life laws again, which is good. So basically, if you're homeless and you're just, you know, in your little camp and you're not messing with anyone, you're fine. But the minute you start yelling and, you know, doing that little thing and throwing shit at people, they took you away and you spent 4 days in a